The purpose of this meetup is to build a community. I have had the privilege of starting 2 other meetups, and the benefit from it is not immediately commercial, and it's not about selling anything, and it's not about promoting anything. It is literally just getting everybody in a community, in a given city, to come together and help each other and share experiences and talk to people who have the same problems that you do.
So I started running events in 2005. As a lot of people do, I fell into the industry. I hadn't intended to at all. I was working in a company that needed to run an event, and they needed someone to run it, and I said, can I do that, please? And they said yes. And I've sort of never looked back, really. So during that time, I have managed 78 people, of whom about 25 I personally hired, I interviewed and I hired. And of those 25, I think 7, as of this week, 7 are either heads of events, directors of events, or managing directors of event companies all over the world. I say as of this week because one of them just went to become MC of a company in Singapore and flew over there this week, so I'm very proud. So I do know a little bit about leadership pipelines and about finding talent, I think, in the burgeoning Eventprof market. So today I'm just going to talk to you, the title of the talk is Rising to the Top, but really it's about the kind of traits that I see in people who go on to lead, and the kind of things I look for in event managers, because I want every event manager I hire to go on to be the best thing they can possibly be. And working in my team should be, I hope, just one step in a good career pathway. So I've kind of distilled it down into about six different sort of theories, I guess. The first one, if you can do everything, you can do anything. Part of the reason I think I'm quite good at hiring people is because I've done everything that they do. So because I've only ever worked in small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, I've often been the first event person in the team and then have built the team as the business has grown. And what that means is that I've had to do every single piece of work that we have before I can prove that we need to create a job for somebody to come and do it. So my advice to absolutely anybody is, if you're working in events, try and work in as much of the event as possible. A lot of companies silo the people working so that you only do conference production, you only do sales, or you only do administration. And actually, one of the things I've done in the company I'm at the moment is I've completely reshuffled the way their work is done. And so now everyone on the team is an event manager, and they run the event from start to finish. They have a holistic view, they look after the budget, the P&L, they find the venues, they decide on the design, they book the speakers, they handle the delegates, they run the event on the day. And even when we have quite big events, the whole team will go on site, and the event manager who's been running that event will be the boss, they'll be my boss on site, and I'm just there as their bitch. We're there to do whatever they need to do, whatever's marked off on the tech running order for me to do is the thing that I will do for them. And it's the same with the whole team. We rotate that with every event. And I think that's been tremendously helpful, and it helps the development for everyone in the team. The more expertise you have, the more you're worth. And it's much easier to demand a high salary if you already know how to do everything that job's going to have. That said, I'll come back to that in a minute. As a manager, as a head of events or a director of events, anyone who's in the process of hiring or is looking at hiring at some point in the future and growing their team, my first order, my first rule is to work for my team. I don't work for anybody else. My team are the most important people in the business for me. My job is to make sure that I clear crap out of the way for them so that they can do what they need to do really well. I've set up a rule on my Outlook so that I only receive external emails and emails from my team. Anything else from anybody else in the business goes into a separate folder, and I'll look at that once or twice a week. Otherwise, if anyone in the business wants to talk to me, they just come and talk to me. Don't send me an email. But my team emails me, and I get those as a priority. They pop up on my phone. If you're ambitious and you want to grow fast and you want to do well, my advice would always be to limit your availability to absolutely everybody apart from your team. I'm always there for them. They can contact me at any time, day or night, with anything they need to know, and I will help them. But anybody else in the business can wait in the queue. And that's been the same in every business I've worked in. So that would be my advice. And celebrate wins. Always celebrate the victories, because it's so uphill working events all the time. It's an uphill slog. We are salmon swimming upstream, and every so often something goes really, really right, and we're so busy that we just move on to the next thing. Actually, when something goes right, stop, celebrate it, tell everyone how well everybody did, buy donuts, make a thing of it, and tell the rest of the business that people in your team have done really well. And tell the rest of the business that you've done really well as well. What's this? Be prepared to take risks. Every time you do something that can't be done, it raises your reputation. Every time you succeed doing something that other people don't understand how it works, it makes you more valuable to the company. Every company I've worked in doesn't think they can do the things that I think they can do, because I can see a way through it. And that's the value, I think, my teams bring, is we always look for the solution. And actually we'll often find the solution before we even tell anyone there's a problem. Because as soon as everyone panics and goes, how do we fix that? You go, well, it's all right, we've got that covered. It's fine, don't worry about it. It's fine, it's not a problem. And everything that you do that is outstanding adds again to your value and adds to your CV. Tough decisions. Not everything that we do is fun or easy, and actually the people that do really well are the people that can make the really hard decisions with relative ease. I don't think I've ever had an events portfolio where everything works flawlessly, and sometimes the business will just look to you because no one else will dare to kill something, because everyone's got vested interest in every event that's going on. There's always a reason to keep things going, and actually sometimes you just need to go, is it what we should be doing as an organisation? Is it what we want to be known for? Because, you know, they're high profile and they're public, and sometimes they go wrong in a spectacularly ugly way. And if you can see that coming down the pipe, actually the bravest choice is to say, this is a bad idea. I know we might lose some reputation, or we might lose some money, or we might lose something by killing it now, but it's going to be an awful lot worse if we wait till the end. And it's our job to know that that's the set of scenarios you've got coming down the pipe. And sometimes you'll have management who will go, no, that's ridiculous, you're wrong, you lack ambition, you don't understand, it's going to be fine. And you're going, there's going to come a point where I have to tell you, I told you so, and is that going to make my job untenable, CEO? Because actually I told you 6 months ago that wouldn't work. Truth is, yeah. However, if you are cruising towards disaster, fail as spectacularly as possible and learn from it. Teach the business lessons the business needs to understand from that failure. And sometimes you don't always have the talent that you need in your team, so obviously work with them to do whatever you can to improve that performance. But again, sometimes those hard decisions need to be made. It's very rare, But if a weak link is breaking the whole chain, then you need to deal with it. Big advice for absolutely anyone working in events, in any role at all, is to climb every 3 years. Because I have yet to find a company where there is an unlimited development pathway for people working in events. And there is no clear run from events administrator to CEO. I've never ever seen it. However, what you can do is jump and go up the ladder by moving to other companies. There's no reason you can't go back at a higher level, but I've never ever seen anyone be promoted from event manager all the way up to CEO. I've seen one get to MD, but yeah, it's very, very rare. Events are cyclical. Right? They, generally speaking, most people have a repeating events program of some description. So the first year you do it, you learn how to do it. The second year you do it, you make it better. And the third year you make it perfect. If you can't make it perfect in 3 years, you're in the wrong job. So, or as perfect as you can make it within 3 years. And actually at that point, if you can't improve it, you shouldn't do it anymore. Go and do something more interesting. So yes, 3 years seems to be the right period of time. Obviously that varies from company to company, depending on the type of work. When you do move though, I would say don't always move just for the money. One of the best moves I ever made was going from global events director to events manager in a totally different type of company. And the reason I did that, I had personal reasons for doing that. I needed a work-life balance, I thought, not that I'm capable of it. But it seemed like a fun idea at the time. But also, it was a totally unique and creative opportunity that I understood actually better than the company that were hiring me for it. And I knew I could take them to a very special place doing amazing things that they would never ever think of without me. And I took the job. It was financially a sideways move, actually, but in terms of job title, it was a big jump down. And a lot of people kind of went, why would you do that? And I had to have the courage of my convictions and say, it's the right move for me. It feels like the right move. And it was great. It was one of the most exciting jobs I've ever done. Did it for 3 years. When I left, I was head of events, but never, ever, ever take a job that you can already do, because where's the fun in that? If we don't have to panic every so often because we don't know what we're doing, then we need to do something easier generally. Never ever stop learning. There's so much. And if your passion is conference production, then why not bounce industries? Do oil and gas, and then do big pharma, and then do agriculture, and then do banking, and then there is no end of different types of topics that you can look at. So it doesn't have to be about the money, because generally speaking, in the events industry, there's everyone earns this much, and then a tiny number of people who are almost entirely men that much. That can change, but actually there's that hopscotching thing, and changing every 3 years is how you get up there. Money is always negotiable. I now know this as a hiring manager who's hired a lot of people, that actually what you want more than anything, really, in an event manager who's going to be negotiating with suppliers, who's going to be negotiating with venues, who's going to be spending your company's money, you don't want to hire someone who won't negotiate. And that's a really important thing to know when you're applying for jobs, because everyone's scared. You kind of go, oh, but it's the perfect job and it's a really good move for me and I'll really love it and I'll be very grateful if they let me have it. Actually, if you're in the room for the interview, you've already got the job. You just need to not screw it up. Because the only reason people are meeting you, on paper, you got into the room with a very busy person who doesn't have time to interview all the 8,000 people that applied. They're only interviewing you and 4 other people. So on paper, you and all 4 other people can do the job. So actually, you just need to be the person they like the most. It's human and it's basic, but it's true. So when they offer you the job, they really want you. And no one applying for a job is ever told this. You just go, oh, but if I say no or if I'm difficult, they'll just go to the next person on the list. They don't want the next person on the list, they want you, because they're the one they've offered a job to. So push for money, negotiate hard, take a risk. It's worth it. If they really don't have the money and they really can't bend on the price, then they have to tell you that, they have to admit that to you, and then you can make a decision whether you still want the job. But at least you show that you can negotiate. I hired somebody very recently, and I was so desperately hopeful that she would negotiate, because I lowballed her on the offer. And she immediately came back and went, I've been offered something far better, far more money, blah, blah, blah. I was like, here, have everything. Just take the job. And I literally went in at the absolute top that we could go, and she took it. It was great. And when she started, I was like, I'm so glad you took the job, because no one ever tells candidates that. So yes, that's probably my biggest single piece of advice is that. But find the job you want and just make them pay you more. One of the best jobs I ever took, I remember speaking to the recruiter, the HR guy at the company, because I'd applied for the job. He kind of called me and said, I'm a bit concerned because it looks like you probably earn a lot more than we're paying. I said, well, how much are you paying? And he told me. I said, no, that's not enough. I said, well, I'll still come and interview for it. And I went to interview knowing that they were offering, as a job spec, they were offering at least 10 grand less than I would even consider. And I walked into the room and said, I want 20 grand more than you're offering. And we settled between what I wanted and, well, nowhere near what they wanted, but we got it. Because actually, they wanted me for the job. And I was probably the only person that applied that could do it the way they wanted it done. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But yes, find the job you want and just make them pay for it. That's really it. That's all the advice I've got for now. But if you want more, I've got a book. You can download from Amazon. There's actually 3 books. There's one on running events for small businesses, and one on social media and marketing. I wouldn't recommend that at the moment. But the main book's really good, so you should do that. They're all on Amazon. Here are my photography credits for my ladder slideshow that I've done for you, because we're about climbing ladders.